On this video, I'm going to give you an update on my 2020 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon build. I figure it's been a while since I've put this Jeep on the channel. Some of you may be familiar with the Jeep. I've done a lot of videos with it for Driving Line. I contribute to that channel. I'm their senior off-road editor, and this is my personal channel. So let me give you some updates on some things that I've been doing maintenance-wise on this Jeep, a few changes that I've made, and a couple little issues that might help out some other people if you're experiencing the same thing. All right, let's get to it. So one of the biggest changes that I did is actually remove the factory front skid plate. I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and I went ahead and made the decision to unbolt the factory skid plate. So this is an Arcus series front bumper from Rugged Ridge, and I was able to make it work with the factory skid plate, and I really didn't mind the look, but I wanted to change things up for a couple reasons. Number one, I wanted a little bit more clearance. I wanted it to look a little bit better in the front, so you can see this nice expensive Pro Rock front axle that's under here. And I wanted to get to the disconnect knob. I've got that Evo No Limits sway bar disconnect knob, and I wanted it where I could just reach up and grab it a little bit faster. I'd have to put my hand behind the skid plate, and not really that big of a deal, but after wheeling all day and this thing being hot, it wasn't ideal. And obviously if it was muddy, you got a little bit muddy doing it. So this should make that a little bit nicer. And lastly, I wanted to get a little bit more airflow to the cooler. So this thing has got a PSE hydraulic assist steering system on it, and the cooler mounts kind of low. It's not a radiator mounted cooler, and I felt like if I had a little bit more airflow, that would help with it. All I did is literally one pass with the Sawzall after I unbolted the skid plate and chopped off the bottom of the frame horns. I painted the sway bar motor, or the assembly for the Rubicon, black so it would blend in a little bit better. That was about it. That's literally one pass with the Sawzall on each side. It really wasn't that hard, and I'm stoked with it. I shoved the 3.0 Resis up as high as I could to get a little bit more clearance with it, but overall, I think it gave the Jeep a little bit better look, and I'm stoked on that for sure. The lights, because I always get this question, they're from GG Lighting. The green lenses, that's just a cover. It actually comes with the light when you get these 7-inch day makers. One thing I was absolutely dreading, but I've been needing to do, is paint the axles. So these axles are like 4 years old, and years of just going off-road, they just looked horrible. So I finally took the time and actually painted the axles. I touched up the chassis, and I touched up all of the skid plates for the most part. It's not perfect. I still need to do the sliders, but I'm gonna get some different paint for that. Now, here's something I'll show you that people are probably gonna scratch their head at, and that's all right. So I didn't want to have overspray everywhere. So I ended up getting this Color Max acrylic paint. This is a satin black, and I rolled it all on. And I'll tell you, I was a little nervous about doing it at first because I really didn't know if you would see like how the roll marks would look or anything like that. And I knew I'd have to touch it up in spots that were hard to get to with a brush. But I am super happy with how this came out, and don't have a ton of overspray, because you just rolled it. And I actually did the chassis the same way. And it's not perfect, 100%. I'll tell you right now that there's nothing perfect about this, but I am very happy with how this looks, comparatively speaking. I'm a pretty particular person when it comes to trying to keep my Jeep clean, and this is like an extra step that probably most people will never do, but I just want this stuff to look new. This freaking expensive axle set, might as well, keep it nice for a long time, or as long as I can. So I did that. I actually painted this is like I think these are from Artec. I ended up having to split it because of the resi hoses and stuff. I was trying to actually keep some heat out, so that's why it split. So I repainted those. That's rolled as well, no spray paint. So I don't know. I'm pretty happy with how that looks, and just one of those little things, just trying to keep upkeep. And if you're new to the channel and you're like, wow, this guy's a total mall crawler, you can get in here and you can see this Jeep is beat up from that. knock this on the door from the Rubicon Trail. It's got scratches here, nicks there, scratches down the door. It gets used. Like, this isn't meant to be a like pretty mall crawler Jeep, but I wanted to look nice. I don't have it in me to just not care and not take care of it. Another little update thing. You've probably seen, if you follow the Driving Line channel, I put an alu cab on the back of it, this contour canopy. I really like it, still very happy with it. I did pull the rooftop tent off of it. Been driving it like this for a bit. Next step is I'm actually gonna pull this off, not permanently, but the reason I got it is because it's light enough that I can. I'll put my Best Top easy roll cover back on it so I can get this thing ready for a Windrock trip. So try to have it thinned down and lightened up as much as I can for, you know, off-road trips like that. Now, another thing I did that's probably not as obvious is I actually pushed the front axle forward, I would say about 3/4 of an inch. And I did that for a couple reasons. One of the things that I noticed after putting the rock crawler suspension on is when the springs kind of settled, which is not that uncommon, I got a little bit spring bow on this side, and when after a wheeling trip I basically had to get it realigned, and we were trying to get the caster a little bit better, get positive caster. And when we were rotating the axle, the spring was hitting the bump stop tower a little bit on the top. And so I wanted to push it forward, but I couldn't just move the axle forward without adding bump stop, because the Pro Rock XC60 differential housing is so large that it would hit the track bar. Now, it does have a relief in the cover to sort of compensate for that, but I wanted to be on the safe side, so I added an additional 3/4 inch spacer up front, and I moved the front axle, and now the Jeep is sitting at 6.8 degrees of caster, and it drives fantastic. Very happy with that. The question I get a lot is, hey, you know, 42s exist now. You got a 17-inch wheel, why not go to a 42? I'm really torn with it. I feel like there's plenty of times on the interstate that this Jeep could benefit from having even more differential gear, and I've got 538s, and I feel like moving to a 42 is only going to make that worse. Obviously the 42 is heavier, bigger footprint. I've got 5.5 inches of back spacing with these wheels, and I'm not sure that I'll have the clearance that I need with this wheel in a 42, so I don't know. I think it would look cool, but I'm not sure if I'll go down that way. So I didn't really move it forward necessarily for tire clearance, but it's definitely something I did, and you know, that's always one of those things when you're just trying to fine-tune stuff. It's not really a great video. I'm sorry I don't really have a ton of clips. I've just been working on this thing sort of behind the scenes as I get a chance. I've got a lot of cars I'm constantly messing with, but I figured it's definitely worth noting. If your coil's bowing a little bit, you know, you got to really dial in not only where that axle is going to land up travel wise before you can just push in that front axle a little bit. So real quick, I'll go over some quick specs on the Jeep. So if you're wondering about lift height and all that stuff, I'll give you kind of a quick rundown. It's got a 4.5-inch rock crawler Adventure Series lift. So Adventure Series joint, it's not a long arm. It's not the triangulated 4-link, still basically stacked OE style control arms in the back. It has the Fox 3.0 remote reservoir shocks with the DSC adjusters. I absolutely love those. Don't really like the mounting situation in the front with the hoses, but the performance of the shock really makes it where I don't want to get rid of them. So it's just kind of one of those challenges. The rear has the remote reservoir fixed on it, so it's really not that big of a deal. But performance-wise, I really like how this rides. It's much taller than how I built it originally, and for the type of use that we use it for, I think it's better now, it being a little bit higher. It's not a daily driver by any means at this point. The axles are Dynatrac Pro Rock XD60. They're 72.5 inches wide, so a good bit wider than stock. The wheels are 5.5-inch backspace, bead locks from Trail Ready. Tires are 40-inch Nitto Trail Grapplers. Very happy with this setup. Everything's been really solid. I've broken 2 E-lockers in the rear. That's why I replaced it with an ARB in the back, and other than that, no major mechanical issues with this Jeep. The drive shafts are from JE Reel, 1350, same ones that have been here since did the big axle swap a few years ago. Most of this Jeep has been literally built like on the floor in my garage, so really stoked to be able to have something like this at this level and be able to build it essentially myself, because you really save a lot of money and know your vehicle a lot better that way. That's really about it. Don't have anything too extreme on the radar for like anything wild next. I know a lot of people ask why don't I go with a moto-built bed. I love the moto-built beds. I just think for my needs with this Jeep, it makes more sense to keep the factory bed, at least for now, because it is nice to be able to put the rooftop tent and go camping and stuff like that with the kids. This makes it a little bit more versatile. The rear bumper, because I know I'm probably going to get questions about it, is from a guy named Chad Wheeler. He owns Wheeler Industries in Colorado. I hit him up, he built me this one, and then I think he did like a small batch of 10. I'll put his Instagram handle in the description of the video, and if you want to message him about building you one, you can do that. No guarantees that who will, but I love it. It's high clearance. You do have to cut the bottom of the bed to do it, and mine was built without a receiver, but you can get one with a receiver hitch. So hopefully that kind of gets everybody up to date on this. If you do have any questions, just drop them in the comments. If you want to see stuff I'm working on behind the scenes, you can catch me at basically everything at Ali Mansour Editor. And yeah, thanks for making it to the end. Got a few videos I'm trying to get hammered out for this channel, and obviously I got a lot of stuff that I do really consistently for Driving Line, so be sure to check me out at both places. So thanks for watching to the end, and as always, I hope to see you on the trail. Take care.